Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the New Zealand Mixed Ultimate Championships. My name is Daniel Clinton, and I am joined by Blair Munro. Good morning, Blair.
Good morning, Jay. How are we going?
Very, very good. We're off to a flying start here. Squall, Space Invaders. It's game one. It's day one, and it's a poach block to begin. We're off to the races. Here we go. Space Invaders with an early turn. They came down on defense, and now they have a shot at the end zone. Middle of the field. Looking, stacking. Very static stack at the moment. Eng looks. Up the field, there's a poach block going the other way. Oh boy, this is going to be a good one. Both teams from Auckland. And there is a third block to to get us off to a great start. That's huge.
Absolutely dynamic first point. We have just turn after turn after turn. That just means both teams are playing phenomenal defense. Space Invaders to pick up, working it back from their own end zone.
And maybe a little bit of nervousness as well. We saw Connolly from Squall get that poach block. But the offenses are they're not ticking at the moment. They're not combining the way they would hope to. We now have a horizontal from the Space Invaders.
Space Invaders exhibiting a little bit of patience here. Cuts coming in on -2, as they should. A little bit of movement before the disc is checked in, but we're off again.
It's a heavy poach defense at the moment, and there's the huck. She's free, but it is a long, long throw. That is way too far there. Way too far. Overcooked that. Coral Huang can't get to it. So Squall, they get it back. Far sideline. There is, there's going to be a foul. Just when I thought that was a huge layup block by Bruce Eng, it's going to be an uncontested foul. And the disc will come in on 0 as Eng has just signalled to his team. So Squall are going to keep it. They're on offense still. That's Bodis. She's going to light it up now. Beautiful fat side throw to Boardman. And there it is. After 4 turns, we now have our first score of the game.
And the momentum is going in the way of Squall at the moment. Taking that first point is a phenomenal effort, particularly with regards to setting the tone for the rest of the game. It's going to be up to Space Invaders to come out really hard on offense to reclaim that, bring that tie, and then send their defense line out to try and swing that momentum back the other way.
Yeah, if they could get a turn here, have a shot at the end zone, get a score, you would think that Space Invaders are going to go straight onto the back foot. It's not going to be where they wanted to start this game. Talking to Meg Lake, manager extraordinaire of Space Invaders, she was saying that they've pushed Marvelous DC, one of the top contenders here this weekend. They've pushed them all the way every time. So Space Invaders really looking towards kind of those championship days, Saturday into Sunday, and the opportunity to go really deep in the tournament. And Squall, they could really, really ruin things here early.
It's exactly what you'd expect from a team from the capital. Just throw a cheeky wrench into the machinations of Space Invaders. They could be the first stumbling block in Space Invaders' road to the finals. We're about to see the pull come up. There's a hand from Space Invaders, pull coming up, and Squall coming out on defense.
So we'll see what they bring. You would anticipate, man, there is not a breath of wind. It is beautiful here in Hamilton, New Zealand. Oh, there it is. And that is flat. He needs to bid. He doesn't. Oh, boy. Mercer overcooking that one outside in. Always moving away from his receiver. So Squall going out of the vertical. Strong cut from the back. It's covered well. They'll look to reset. Nice outside in. Continuation. Connolly fakes the long. To the middle, and there's a massive layout that gets caught anyway. Squall are going to ride their luck a little bit here. Put it up. You may as well. There it is. Connolly's in the end zone. Can he track it down? Whoa.
Just a little bit too much dip on that chip. Space Invaders to pick up, and we're going to see if they can grind it all the way back and score the second point of the game.
There's nothing from the stack, and then, oh, what a throw. That is lovely pro backhand. Absolutely. Reset, throw and go, dominator movement. Far side of the field. They go with continuation. The flow is there. They reset back to the middle. It's a fast-paced offense. I love how this looks. Just
fed by Squall. Space Invaders
Oh!
maintain possession with a layout grab.
That's pretty good. Looks like he might have jarred his shoulder a little bit. And there's the huck. It's a bit floaty. It's outside in. It's going to go towards the middle. What a read.
Yes.
Excellent read there. Well, Space Invaders, they level it up at 1-1. And it looked like that was Sheena Weyendorp there catching the goal. Excellent read on the disc. Moved away from it.
Absolutely. Looked like the Squall player was trying to box out, but the disc faded back the other way. Space Invaders going up to take that one down. Beautiful second point of the game. A lot fewer turns. It could be that Space Invaders are starting to find their momentum. Maybe find that pace a little bit. Squall coming out on offense now. A little bit of patience on these lines, a little bit of communications we love to see.
Now, we were talking before the game here, Blair, and you were saying that you wanted to give this tournament a nickname. What was that?
Yeah, so the with a recent regional restructuring for our tournaments here in New Zealand, we've had the Tamaki Throwdown for our northern qualifier, the Tuparara Tussle for our central region, our southern region. The winners there were decided at the Otautahi Classic. We are here in Kirikiriroa, Hamilton, so this is going to be known hereforth as the Clash in Kirikiriroa. So that's what we're going to start calling the 2019 Division 1 New Zealand Mixed Ultimate Championships. Hand going up from Squall, the pull coming from Space Invaders. Beautiful floaty, hard chase down from Space Invaders. Look at those feet going.
It's just out though.
And that's going to be a brick.
A little bit too much outside in there. Yeah. Armstrong here. Yeah, not quite what he wanted. Congratulations to Mr. Billy Armstrong, who is getting married in a couple of weeks.
I think the success of that wedding might be predicated on the success of this game.
I'm sure that Armstrong and his fiancée, future wife, Meg Lake, I'm sure that they're going to find happiness regardless of how they go this weekend.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So Potus is going to bring this in. Going to look near side. There's nothing there. The reset. There's the dominator movement again. We've seen a little bit of this so far. First it was Space Invaders. Now it is Squall. Bit of a nothing dump cut. There's the fill. Oh! Boardman bounces off the hand. And now Space Invaders. Armstrong's going to pick this up. He's just outside the red zone. So you would think that the opportunity to throw a goal here is there. Let's come under. Looking. Reset. There it is. Armstrong scores. Well, that is the first break of the game. Space Invaders 2-1. Blair, what are you seeing out there?
I'm seeing a lot of really precise disc movement. Quite often when players are sitting, getting the turn, managing in their defending end zone, we're seeing a lot of long shots. Thankfully, when we're getting a bit closer to the attacking end zone, it's a little bit nicer to see some more crisp ultimate, a lot of tight swings, really nice shallow cuts, really giving options for those handlers to get that disc moving and attack corners of the end zone where the defense might not be covering as well.
Space Invaders, this is actually their first year. They were formed earlier in the year at New Zealand Ultimate Championships, which is the single-sex competition. So they decided to form the team, and many of the players have represented New Zealand at the under-24 level.
Absolutely, some really high caliber players in this team, and with a lot of experience playing together as well through that under-24 circuit. And considering that they've just taken the first break of the game, we're seeing a lot of that internal chemistry starting to come to the fore. It
was a nervous start, though. It wasn't off to the most confident of beginnings, but they've steadied the ship somewhat, and now it's Squall. They're going to have to play O, and they really need to complete this. Connolly underneath, near side. They're looking. Boardman, he's been busy. He's been involved in a lot so far. Connolly with their jink in the out and the in, and that's it. Oh, that has got to be close. It looks like they're going to call it in. Yes, Connolly with an excellent layout score, keeping his feet down in grounds.
Flawless technique on that. Way to pick up that disc going a little bit wide, just keeping that toe right in on the inside of the line and make sure that is an in call. Getting Squall their second point of the game, bringing the score back to 2-2.
And that's really what Squall needed there. They really didn't want to go down 2 breaks. This early in the game, only 4 points in. We're now into the 5th point. It's important to stay in touch early in the game. Make sure that you don't get too far away. Scoring on defense a little bit harder because you've first got to get possession of the disc away from the offense.
Absolutely, it is one of the hardest ways to play Ultimate is coming back from a few points, sending your defense out to really get that grind in and try and keep breaking the offense to maintain that scoreline and bring that game margin back in a little bit closer. And going up from Squall, signaling up from Space Invaders, just coming in. What a long, beautiful pull, lot of float on that one. Should give Squall plenty of time to chase that one in. Yeah. But it comes back out the sideline, and that's another brick for Space Invaders.
Just slides sideways there. Hamish Horn not really getting on top of the disc as much as you would like. Mercer's going to bring it back to the middle. And Simpson's going to set up as the dump for Space Invaders. Working out of the vertical again are Space Invaders. The huck is covered well by the mark. Mercer, he wants it. He's going to throw it. There it is. Oh, that is a pretty good throw. You'd be happy with that.
It is absolutely hard to beat Ultimate that looks that pretty.
Ryan Smith, deep cut from very close to the disc, hard to stop, and Mercer, you get the sense that every time Mercer gets the Frisbee, he's going to want to throw a goal.
Absolutely. That man has a 1,000-yard stare if ever I've seen one. Eyes are always on the end zone, and he's got the throws to back it up. Manages to get to one of his players in clear separation for a very nice goal, bringing the score to 3-2 for the 5th point of the game.
So Blair, as a local, what can we expect in terms of the weather here this weekend?
Well, if last year's Mixed Ultimate Championships are anything to go by, a beautiful first day and 2 days of rain, which does make for great layout conditions. Here in Kirikiriroa, Hamilton, we tend to have some pretty stable wind, and the skies are looking really beautiful for us today, which means that if that wind holds off, which we're kind of hoping it will, we're going to see some really nice long points here at the Clash in Kirikiriroa. Some really, really nice offense favouring conditions at the moment. We shouldn't worry too much about wind, but if it does pick up, obviously teams will have to adapt. Strong wind would favour a team like Squall from Wellington with all of their questionable weather down there.
Yeah, Squall is actually named for terrible weather. So, maybe. Bodis is going to bring it in. She's looking. Goes for the reset. Oh, big poach there by Armstrong. He gets burnt back to the open side by Connolly, who comes back to the break side, and he's going to put it in the air. Can they bring it down? It's a goal. What a play there. Connolly with just experience, showing Armstrong the business.
Using a little bit of a height mismatch as well. That's clever play by Squall to bring that point down, bring the game back to 3-3.
Looked like Mance getting free deep there. Hell of a receiving target. Very, very tall. able to track that one down. That's a really nice offensive point.
Absolutely. Space Invaders might have come out strong on the last one with a beautiful floaty disc into a clear end zone, but Squall answer with one of their own, having one of their players take that one down despite being pretty well covered. It's absolutely what we want to see.
So Squall coming from Wellington, you say?
That's the one. Squall from Wellington, Space Invaders from Auckland. Clash of two former capitals of New Zealand, or one current capital.
So they were started 4 years ago, apparently by Mel Connolly. And coming into the tournament, they had a reasonably good regionals, I believe.
Yeah, they did. Definitely placed top 3. Can't remember the exact placings at the moment. I think Marvelous DC might have taken first and second in that one. But Squall to place third is a very, very strong finish, which brings them here.
And now we have a wrinkle on defense. Squall throwing some sort of zone. Looks a little bit like the Arrowhead. So Space Invaders are going to have to adjust. That is a wobbly looking scuba. He's pointing, he wants it. He knows what he wants. He comes back to the middle to Armstrong. Around. Nice! It's nice! It's perfect! It's on a dime! Oh, it could not have been any better.
An absolutely beautiful OI throw to just curve just beyond the sideline and touch in for a beautiful catch right in the corner of the end zone.
Yeah, Coral Hang. She's in the end zone again, and that was Lee Yof with the throw. What a nice throw.
Absolutely. They came down with a zone, but Space Invaders had a lot of patience. They just moved the disc backwards and forwards across the line, had an option, and took it. A beautiful throw for a beautiful catch for a beautiful point.
And early in that point, you saw Yo, he knew what he wanted always. He's pointing, he's trying to direct the offense, he's identifying the soft parts in the zone. And, well, when he found one, he exploited it to maximum effect.
Absolutely, that beautiful field general. One disc on the hand, one disc telling his cutters where he wants them. It's that kind of cueing that really lines up some of those more, not easy, but certainly cleanly executed points.
And now it is 4-3. We've got a game. It's on.
Pull goes up.
Are we going to have one that lands in bounds? It looks like it for what feels like the second time in the game. Connolly. Throw into space. Squall. They're working out of the vertical, and that is just a straight up turn, a throwing error for what feels like the first time. All the other turns so far have been blocks or, defensive pressure.
Space Invaders looking to capitalize.
Oh! Hand block into a layout grab. Mercer, near side. Hammond fakes the high release. Goes back to Mercer, and it's nearly no-look blocked. Oh, you feel like the pot is starting to boil. Mercer, middle of the field. Throw to the end zone. Uncovered receiver. That is a goal. Space Invaders convert a D point. Mike Connolly calls a timeout for Squall. Oh, boy.
That is one of those crucial turns in a game like this when teams are trading points. Managing to get a turn and capitalize on that really does a huge job for team morale, which could be the reason this timeout has been called. Just give both teams a chance to settle down, get their heads back in the game. Space Invaders will be very, very happy with that conversion.
Seems like a lot of receiving power. Rory Hammond and Ryan Smith on the same line with out there with Alex Mercer there. That's a lot of power.
Absolutely.
We saw the hand block get saved by Smith, and then Hammond inserts himself with the throw going the other way. So 5-3 is the score. Space Invaders, they've taken an early lead here. Halftime will be in the next couple of points. Blair, what would you expect out of Squall?
I think Squall are probably going to have to throw down something a little bit different. They brought a zone down before, and that might be their go-to option in this next time they come out on defense, just to maybe catch Space Invaders a little bit unaware. At the moment, Space Invaders are using some really smart disc movement, but they are prioritizing those long shots when they can get them. And a really strong zone with maybe some tall and athletic players in the back to pick up those deep shots. It's going to do a really, really good job of maybe forcing those to get looked off. A zone, if they can force a lot of passes, the more passes you can force a team to make, the more likely they are to end up with a turnover. And if you can capitalize on that, it gets you back in a game like this one.
Ahead of the tournament, the teams, they gave us a bit of information. They sent us some questionnaires and information, and after we went through and edited out all the things that are possibly not appropriate for the stream, New Zealand, very similar to Australia in that regard.
I think one of the key sort of tenets of New Zealand Ultimate is just a willingness to enjoy the game, and perhaps that does get reflected in a lot of the communication that the teams have with each other and with the organisational committee. But we've tidied that up for your listening pleasure.
And looking through the Squall, they tell us to look out for all of their emerging talent, like all of them. Just all of them.
Entire team.
Low effort response if ever there was one.
Absolutely. Although Space Invaders, they could quite easily make the same argument. They are a new team, pulling from a very, very highly competitive circuit. And so hopefully over the course of this tournament, we're going to see who those emerging talents are.
Space Invaders have, poached isn't the right word because they all came willingly. But they've picked up a lot of talent from, some of the high-level clubs here. Marvellous DC, lots and lots of players on the Space Invaders played for them, and as well as Flood, Old Boys, and Lamanatai. Laminati. There we go. That was close.
Yeah.
But not really. Boardman.
Oh, what a layout grab. Way to keep that disc alive. Squall retaining possession, swinging the disc to the far side. And back recentering.
Botus. Mance doesn't get it on this near sideline. They go back to the middle. Squall are having to work hard here. They're throwing a lot of passes. Botus goes the reset again. Little bit of wind coming from the far top right-hand corner, and that is a huge throw and a huge grab. Squall. Oh, there's a poach block. And that's Alex Mercer inserting himself. Getting another block. Yo goes around, it bounces. There's a pick call. Come back. Angus Horan on the mark. It's going to count it in. Around. Space Invaders out of the vertical. All the cuts come at once and then nothing. Point. Yo. Looks off, goes back to the middle. Mercer goes far sideline. And points. Mercer gets it. They're going backwards, Space Invaders, but they're maintaining possession of the Frisbee. Nice fake. I bought it. Yo. Playing. Gets free. Nice switch by Botus and Mance combining on the defense. There's another pick call on Armstrong. Looks like Boardman is just going to leave the disc where it is. It didn't affect him catching it, but affected his ability to put the mark on there. Alex Mercer. Armstrong. Near sideline. Inside out break to Wang. Oh, what a throw that is. Line it up. Hooverlin. That is not much of a window there. And what a throw by Naomi Hooverlin. That is outstanding. Space Invaders, they score again. It's now 6-3. Trouble signs for Squall.
Absolutely. Squall are going to need to put their nose to the grindstone to pull themselves back into this game. If any team can do it, I'd back them to bring that pressure on. They were forcing Space Invaders to go backwards a little bit during that point. They might need to double down on that pressure next time they come out on defense.
And in Ultimate, we have, generally speaking, when you're playing offense, you have one of two things. You either have a cutter-initiated throw or a thrower-initiated throw. And whilst that cut did come, it really wasn't open. There wasn't much of a window there. And somehow Hooverland has found a window and somehow threaded it through for the score. It wasn't so much bad defense from Squall because they were close. They were nearby. It was just a pretty high-level throw. So there's the pull. And Squall, it is their turn. Hamish Horan goes to the far sideline. Connolly. Boardman getting involved. The bucket hat and the chin strap is tight. Boardman combines and throws and goes with Connolly. It was right there. Oh, tough. Ali elects not to bid on that. The around. The middle. Connolly running the show. He goes to the open side. What a throw. What a catch. That is some really, really high-level ultimate there.
Absolutely. A fantastic read by Hamish Thornton, just keeping that toe in right at the end.
You saw the bit of experience there by Connolly.
Can I also just give a hat tip to the no-look reset that we saw in the middle of that point? Just straight backhand laterally as the foot came up and he started accelerating out of that throw, which is just really textbook give and go. It's beautiful stuff to see. Keeps the disc moving, keeps the disc alive, and most importantly, keeps the defense on the back foot, which is what opens you up for some points just like that one there.
So knowing what we know about these Space Invader throwers who have really shown some class here early, do you think Squall can... Do you think a Squall zone is actually going to get them what they want here? Or do you think that maybe the pressure man defense and a bit of luck and a bit of will is what they need?
I think it really depends. If they can play smart matchups in that match defense, that'll probably do a lot of the work for them. But we're starting to feel the wind pick up just a little bit, fits and starts. So a zone might come down, and if they can time it right against those throws, they might be able to stop some overheads and stop some of those long options. But we'll see what they come down with now. Big pull, stays relatively flat. Big chase down by Squall.
It's a nice pull by Daniel Davis.
Looks like we are going to see that zone defense.
That's Miller Mercer with the Frisbee. Goes with the hammer. When it's Daniel Davis pulls out of that one. A very good play. Excellent spirit by him. And Young throws the goal.
That was exactly what I was expecting to see from Squall. A nice casual zone, forcing that overhead. And as you could see from that last point, we nearly had a bit on that disc. Maybe another second earlier on that read, and that would have definitely been a turn. Problem there is that when you reach under that far to try and stop that shot, it really does open up the back end, which is exactly what Space Invaders were hoping for.
Yeah, Davis making a decision there to come on the disc, knowing that he probably needed to make that block there, because if that throw was completed, he probably wasn't going to affect what happened next anyway. So, but a thought process there, trying to, impact the play and get a turn. So the zone doesn't work, Blair.
Well,
as I suspected.
Well, I'm happy to be proven wrong. We'll see what Space Invaders come down with now.
Because this is their opportunity to take half here. If they score the 8th point, or their 8th point, will be half time with a 7-minute break. Armstrong has the Frisbee and looks to pull for Space Invaders. And Connolly with his hand in the air for Squall.
Just going up. It's long, it's high, there's a lot of float on it. It's going to give Space Invaders a really good chance to catch up to that disc. They're coming down match defense. Yeah, pouring that pressure on early. Oh, cold drop from Squall.
It's not where you want to be throwing to Man. She's very, very tall. Need to give it a little bit of air.
Aim those ones for the breadbasket, and with a player like Mance, you're going to have catches every single time. That just came in a little bit low. Space Invaders swinging to the far side, back to the near side, and around.
Oh, Brucing is going to let it run, and he's dropped it in the end zone. That's going on Instagram. Top 10 things of what not to do. He should have caught it early. He's let it go, and now Squall with a gift. Daniel Davis goes. And Bodas tries to reach. Mercer catches it. Yo, heading for the end zone. It's halftime. We're done here for the moment. Get a drink. Settle in, because Space Invaders. Oh, Brucing, you were going to be on the highlight reel, my friend, for not the right reasons.
An absolute phenomenal first half by Space Invaders. Just a series of really tidy breaks, playing some really smart poachy defense, getting those turns and capitalizing on that.
So this is halftime. We'll be back in approximately 5 minutes. Don't go anywhere. Make sure you're comfortable. Go get a drink. We're going to have more action here from the New Zealand Mixed Ultimate Championships.
Affection. No. I know what I need affection. Yeah, gotta put that out for me. I know what I need affection. I need affection. lonely.
Okay, we're coming out on the second half. Space Invaders setting up their line. It looks like Squall are going to be coming out on defense. It has been an absolutely brutal first half. Space Invaders getting break after break, really grinding down Squall, so the pressure's on in this second half for Squall to try and keep themselves in this game. The team from Wellington.
It's not really their weather at the moment.
No, I think
They're a little bit out of their comfort zone, I might say.
Absolutely. I think if the wind picks up all of
sun.
them.
The fact that it's sunny and above 10 degrees.
I think if the wind picks
The
up a
wind is
little
less
bit, they'll
than
be
30 k's an hour. They just don't know what to do.
Absolutely. As soon as that wind picks up, their throws will come out beautifully. No worries. They'll throw overheads. They'll throw anything in any weather.
Yeah, we
as soon
just
as
need
the,
a Class 2 storm to roll in. That's all we need.
That's the one. And disc going up. Hard chase from Squall.
That's going out.
That is gonzo. Space Invaders calling a brick.
So Miller Mercer going to pick it up. He's been one of the main guys. He's going to come quick.
Try and keep that off. Try and keep the defense in the back toes. It's a swing to the far side of the disc. The far side of the field, sorry. To Coral Huang. Recentering.
Wyandotte. Ooh, looks off Mercer, who keeps going with the cut. Eventually gets free. Mercer.
Long shot going up.
Guess who? Coral Huang. Again, for what feels like her 9th point of the game. She's popped up in the end zone again. She's quite the scoring threat.
Absolutely. Yeah, just really strong read on the disc. Really, really good positioning, quick acceleration, gets into open space and pulls those discs down for a team, which is absolutely beautiful. Space Invaders going to come out on defense now, leaving Squall on offense.
So the teams were asked, what's your never fail play off the pull? Space Invaders with the quintessential spirited ultimate answer. We just look to play Team Frisbee and make smart plays.
I would make the argument that they have been doing that this entire game. Really nice, precise disc movement, really strong accelerating cuts, and just finding that open space and having the throwing confidence to put the disc where it needs to be. Absolutely spot on.
On the other side, Squall, really more of an organic team, less established with their direction they want to go offensively, and maybe that has led a little bit to their struggles here. Space Invaders have managed to create a few blocks.
Absolutely, just really nice positioning on that defense, that disc.
Oh, yes.
Oh, it's gonna stay in. Beautiful pull.
Pull.
And the Squall with the disc, pulling to the near sideline, resetting to the center. Oh, what a pickup there.
De Ruyter. She's a great receiver, is De Ruyter.
Centering the disc again, a lot of fakes. Long shot going up. It's read cleanly by the Squall player. Not in. I think that was a straddle on the line, but there's the shot. Read, brought down by Squall for the score.
Well, they do it. It's not entirely convincing, but I just want to come back to that pull by Coral Huang. She is a superstar.
Absolutely, I had.
Obviously, I'm not from New Zealand, so I'm here. I'm learning a lot about New Zealand Ultimate, and wow, I already have a favourite player, and someone signed her up for.
Give that lady a contract.
Give that lady a contract. Let's get her in the States. Let's get her across to Australia, because she is a superstar. That pull was like perfect.
It was dime perfect. I had the pleasure of playing with Coral at a recent hat tournament, and she just displayed some of the best leadership I've seen on a team full of stragglers. But really strong throwing confidence. Not afraid to look long. Easy resets, just really calm and measured with the disc, and that's obviously on full display here in Hamilton. Squall managing to get that score, coming out on defense.
So Daniel Davis to pull for Squall.
Hopefully we'll see another one come in bounds. Nice floaty disc. Beautiful pull, lot of time for the defense to get into position. Short disc movement from Space Invaders, back and forth, just trying to break past. Looks like Squall have come down with some...
Yeah, it is a zone.
It is a zone. It's a bit sketchy, but there we go. Space Invaders maintaining possession, keeping working the disc. Lots of short passes. Near side, just in front of the receiver. It goes to ground. Squall to pick up. You can see one of the Squall players is boosting long already, but they're not going to use that.
Leo gets off his feet. It looks like they're trying to work into some sort of vertical. It is a little bit messy from Squall. 2 cuts to the same
Run
spot.
through defense by Space Invaders.
There's always the risk when 2 people run to the same spot. You never quite get the read that you want. Leo will now pick it up.
Recentering the disc. A lot of pressure on that Squall defense. Forcing a nice floaty disc to maintain possession.
Bianca Mercer to Armstrong.
Squall coming down with a zone of their own. Nice pressure, but Space Invaders picking that apart again with the hammer fake, signaling he wants a long throw. Absolutely beautiful pickup. And a nice little pop pass to finish that point off.
Zone offense certainly seems like Leo's thing.
Absolutely. Just lots of nice short movement through the zone, crashing between those players, giving that really easy sort of 1-2 meter pass just to maintain possession, reset that stall count, and keep that disc moving. You need a lot of athleticism to break through a zone like that, especially if you're one of those key zone offense players, and clearly Leo has that in spades.
Well, you get to play defense. It's just been, trading out of half with a break for Space Invaders. They've extended their lead out to 5 points now.
Absolutely. The game still looking like the momentum's going for Space Invaders. They're going to come out on defense. Squall looking pretty hungry for an offensive hold on this next point. There's the pull. And centering pass is looked off by really well-positioned defense. Big huck fake, recentering the disc. Up. Disc going up. Oh,
It's a misread. She's got it
but
anyway.
pulls it down anyway in triple coverage, no less.
That's Amelia Mance. She has misread it originally and then had the speed to catch back up to the Frisbee.
Absolutely beautiful. In the middle of 3 Space Invaders defenders, just pulling that one down. A really crucial hold for Squall. They'll come out on defense now, see if they can get that break and keep themselves in this game.
Well, 10-6, they're not out of it quite yet, but the position that Space Invaders have worked into is a strong one at the moment.
Absolutely, but it looks like they're the kind of team to keep the mentality that the score is always nil, that every single point is a crucial one. They haven't let that pressure up at all on defense or on offense. It's the kind of intensity that's really going to see them do well in a tournament like this.
Looks like Boardman will pull for Squall. Armstrong is just calling the offense for the Space Invaders. I think the Squall defense needs to go to their bag of tricks here. The zone defense hasn't worked. They need to create a block here somehow.
Absolutely, it might look like a match. Oh, the huck goes up off the second pass at the point. Can Squall get a read on it? And Space Invaders bring it down.
Yeah, what a grab!
That is impeccable timing on both players going up, but Space Invaders edges out the defense to bring that disc down.
Oh, Rory Hammond has just roofed him. Absolutely roofed him. He's gone top deck on that one.
Oh boy, poor Hamish Horan. He's represented at a fairly high level, and on the other side, Rory Hammond hasn't really been playing that long, only a 3-year player, whereas Horan's, over a decade, and the young man just roofed the old dog.
Oh, it was a beautiful bid. That's the kind of thing you want to see a photo of later on. Just a really fantastic hold by Space Invaders there. Absolutely clinical play, sees the player going long, gets the open huck and just sends it.
Well, it really was just the jump ball. Throw it to your man and let him make the play. He made the play all right. As a particularly short-statured person, I'm not particularly tall. I'm often on the other end of those kinds of things. So I feel for Hamish Horan, but he made him work for him. Like, he got right up there and...
Absolutely.
Oh, well, what a play that was. That'll go on the highlight reel. So Boardman to pick up. Boaters.
Very nice movement from those Squall players, making those hard cuts to get open. Pick was called before the throw. The disc is returned.
Lee Yoke just getting hung up on the stack there.
Disc is back in. Hard cut, looked off. And again, Huck goes up.
Oh, De Ruyter v. Huang. De Ruyter has not quite done it.
Right at the edge of the fingertips, just a slight misread.
She tied herself in knots there. She's tried to go to the left and had to go to the right and has ended up being in all kinds of a mess, and Huang has done enough.
Absolutely. That phantom defense just putting enough pressure on the receiver to make them second guess themselves. And that's when the disc is going to fall out of the fingertips and get the turn. Hard undercuts from Space Invaders on the near side. A nice swing.
There's a bracket by the Squall females. They're working off the front of the stack, just looking to create a bit of mayhem.
Hammer goes up, and it's caught and easily offset to Hooverlin up the far sideline. Disc is recentered, a nice easy swing, and there's an undercut opening up, gets looked off, back to the far sideline. Really nice patience from Space Invaders. Reset to Coral, and back to the near sideline.
It's a rough matchup for De Ruyter on Coral Huang. She's got a big job there defensively. Bianca Mercer. Oh,
what a fake. Good disc movement. Leo to pick up. And easy offset.
go.
Just missed, just at the fingertips. Earlier on that layout might have had that disc in hand for the score.
If Coral Huang had pulled that in, I would have been ready to call MVP for the tournament and been done with it.
Absolutely. Pack it up, send us home.
3 quarters through the game one, and I would have had our MVP for the tournament. Had she got that, oh my word, I would have been out of my seat.
Absolutely, but I think that really is the key. Ooh, disc goes to ground.
I get the sense that Mike Connolly has just overcooked that completely, not the option that he needs to take. He needs to have a little bit more presence of mind there.
Absolutely, just turfed that one. Space Invaders to pick up. Big long shot with a lot of curve on it. Pulled in by the Space Invaders.
Yeah, that's Mercer picking up one throw. Well, I would say both throws ill-advised, but only one works. And it's going the way of Space Invaders.
Absolutely. I think sometimes it does just come down to backing yourself. And that beautiful curving OI throw that swung back in to be picked up by the Space Invaders was a perfect example of a handler backing themselves.
So at 12-6, Space Invaders wouldn't say it's done, but they've certainly got the coffin out and they've pushed Squall in.
There's still at least 9 points left to play if Squall want to take this game back. It is a race to 15 here in Hamilton today. Squall coming out on offense. Space Invaders with a well-earned lead, but nothing in ultimate is secure until the last point is scored.
Yeah, we were reading, as part of our research, we looked at some of the results, and there was a game. Let me just see if I can find it. The team was up 12-3, and then proceeded to lose the game 14-12 or 13-12.
If I'm not mistaken, that was Hamilton Prime versus AUUC Flood in the Tamaki Throwdown, the qualifying event. They met them in pool play, had I think an 11-2 lead, and managed to lose the game on Universe Point.
So not only is it never dead, we've seen it just recently here in the New Zealand competition.
Only 6 weeks ago.
Oh.
Turn by Squall. Didn't manage to get those hands around that disc in time. Space Invaders with a chance to capitalize. A long wide shot to the corner. Coral.
There is a pick call. Oh, it's going to come back, I would say. Looks like there's... Yeah, Melody Young is going to send that one back. So Mercer, deep in the red zone, you would have to think that he's still looking to throw a goal here.
Absolutely. As we said before, he's never looking any narrower than the front of the zone. He has the long throws. And there it is, a really low release. Backhand for Space Invaders to grab.
That's
a textbook break, that was.
And Rory Hammond gets himself on the score sheet again, this time in less spectacular fashion, but hey, that takes us to 13-6. Squall. Now the errors are starting to really be important. That was a drop by Daniel Aldridge. He got 2 hands on the Frisbee and it has spanned out of them onto the ground, and giving any team the opportunity to pick up the disc and go on offense so close to your end zone is always going to be dangerous, let alone when Miller Mercer is picking up the Frisbee.
Absolutely. Just a real threat that close to the zone with just a full arsenal of throws. He's got a really tidy break backhand, and he used it to excellent effect there, except this time our receivers didn't have to leave their feet.
So Altaf Ali is going to pull at a nice lefty pull 4. It's going to be another good one by the looks of it.
Squall to receive. Early first pass. Hard cut's getting looked off. Scuba goes up.
Altaf Ali has just whacked him after the disc had gone past.
Call was made.
Had he not touched him, that would have been a turn, but he's given him the old elbow to the back of the head.
The argy-bargy. Squall maintaining possession of the disc. Really strong defensive pressure from Space Invaders. Managing to get a run-through grab.
And it looks like Mike Connolly is going to call something here. I don't see it, to be honest with you, Blair. I think that was clean.
It could very well have been, but they're having the discussion, which is the important thing. Seeking perspective from the other players. Uncontested strip.
Okay.
That's some strong display of spirit right there by the Space Invaders. Squall retaining possession of the disc. Really strong defensive pressure from those Space Invaders, forcing those overhead throws when they can. Squall to centre.
You get the sense it's coming.
There it is, the big huck. Who's got a read on it? That's long gone out the sideline.
Yeah.
A little more patience, a little more vision on that throw might have kept it in.
He just needed to throw it a little bit harder, to be honest. The new mould that Discraft has, it tends to be outside in. What we describe as outside in, so the disc will move when you're throwing a right-handed forehand, it'll move from the right to the left. That one was left to right,
Yeah.
also known as Anheuser, or inside out.
Anheuser's is a disc golf term, isn't it?
Yeah, German.
Oh,
actually.
right. Oh. You learn something new every day. Lots of defensive pressure from Squall. A low shot, but it's picked up by the Space Invaders. Looking for a reset. Putt goes up.
There's never going to be anything else.
No, it was
Mercer.
not. He's got a clean read on it. And there it is. Absolutely beautiful point there from the Space Invaders. A nice floaty shot to a well-read, well-learned receiver who can just pull that one down and take the score one closer to finishing the game for the Space Invaders.
Well, there's only 1 point in it now. Well, between Space Invaders and winning. 14-6 the scoreline. Mercer, surely Squall have got to go to straight up on Mercer. He's just getting everything that he wants at the moment.
Absolutely. It would not be out of the realm of possibility to call a shooter defense where Squall come down with a zone, but have one of their more athletic players just marking Mercer specifically to try and force him out of that point. Considering just that throwing prowess and how he's using it to really great effect on some of these Space Invader points, dedicating one of your players to locking them out of the game is probably a pretty strong way to try and defend against their really strong offense.
Well, we have a timeout. I would guess that Squall have called it. It's hard from here. It's really, really hard for Squall to win this game.
Absolutely.
They have got to go on a 9-point run against a team that has really settled into the game. The first point, right, there was 4 turnovers. The second point, there was, 2 turnovers. Since then, it has been really, really tidy from Space Invaders. They haven't given Squall any opportunities, really, to fight back into the game. And when Squall have had, just a few unforced errors that have crept in, we had, there was one throwaway and Daniel Aldridge's cold drop deep in his defensive red zone. You start to see that the gap just starts to widen. It gets harder. The points start to rack up. Time runs low. And 15, after you've been playing for an hour, really isn't that many points.
Not at all. And I think the key thing to remember as well, particularly with the precise play that we're seeing from Space Invaders, is that athleticism is going to get you most of the way, but really it comes down to execution and calm. It's maintaining that focus. Quite often those cold drops come because a player is looking to make their next throw before they've got the disc in hand. And so keeping that focus, I think, is why we're seeing such precise play from Space Invaders today. Just absolutely beautiful throws, really calm, smart throws. They're looking to exploit holes in the Squall defense, and most importantly, their hands are secure, and we're not seeing a lot of drops from the Space Invaders side.
It's interesting. I don't know if it's a Kiwi thing, but on the team information, the random fact seems to be where you put your injuries. Hamish Horan dislocated 8 bones in his throwing wrist, so he's pretty much ambidextrous now. Chloe de Ruyter playing again after spinal surgery a year ago. That's pretty impressive. Rebecca O'Leary had a hip injury last year, and Mike Connolly did his ACL. So this is his actual first competitive tournament back since he tore his ACL. And obviously, Meg Lake from the Space Invaders is not playing because of her
Recent ACL surgery.
Yeah.
Oh, 1 and 4.
Another unforced error.
That's the one. Really nice positioning by Space Invaders to pick that up. And that's going to be the game.
We're done here. Let's pack it up. That is game 1 in the books. Space Invaders take this 15-6 in the end. A comprehensive and well-rounded victory.
Decisive by Space Invaders. Just really good execution. I anticipate that we will be seeing them again.
Who are your players of the game there, do you think, Blair? Who really showed up?
I think, we were set to give Coral MVP of the tournament if she'd gone for that layout a second earlier. If she doesn't get MVP of the game, that means I've completely misread the last 21 points of Ultimate. Mercer with those beautiful break, low release backhand throws were all there. Just really, really strong play from those two Space Invaders in particular. Legio getting in there, picking apart that Squall zone when he had the chance. What about you?
Well, from Squall, I was really impressed by Chloe de Ruyter. She is a power receiver. I think that if Squall are going to have success here at New Zealand Mixed Championships, it's going to be Chloe de Ruyter into the end zone, that big power receiver. You know, getting her on the low block and seeing if you can isolate her, because I don't think there's going to be many people that are going to be able to cover her and what she brings. So, a great game here to start the tournament. Blair will be back here in a matter of moments for Game 2. So don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. We look forward to seeing you again. The next game is at 12 o'clock local time. It'll be Canele, an Australian team, against Flood.
Flood from Auckland, part of the Auckland University Ultimate Club. Their A team coming down to Kirikiriroa Hamilton to try and take up the title this weekend.
So we'll see you shortly, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us, and we'll be back soon.
Thank you.